Hi everyone, Fire Players here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we are here for another episode of Footy Talk. Alright guys, now today we're going to be going over all the practice matches and how they unfolded. And that's going to be it for today's Footy Talk. That's what we're doing today. Again, it's not going to be a long one. I don't really want to make these go on for too long. But yeah, Footy Talk episode 2 is here. We're going to be going over the practice matches. Let's not waste any time and let's go ahead and get into it. So, obviously, in the last Footy Talk episode, I went over the practice match. I went over a couple of practice matches. Now, in today's episode, we're going to be going over them again. Although, the ones that we're going over, we're not going to be going over them as much again. We're just going to be going over them a little bit. It's going to be looking at the scores. Who won? Was it a surprise or not? So, Essendon did manage to scalp the first game of the pre-season. Now, this probably did come as an upset to most people, although this was the start of what was many upsets in this pre-season. Now, obviously, this is pre-season, so does this count towards anything? No. This is also a chance to try out your younger players as well. So, you can say that sometimes teams aren't at full capacity or full strength. Now, again, this was a pretty good game. The hanger, Essendon got the job done by 7 points, though, beating last year's grand finalists, the Western Bulldogs. Now, some people are like, oh, the Western Bulldogs are going to slip off. They're not going to be top 8 this year. Now, at this stage, I do say that is a bit nonsense for now. I don't think that's necessary. Just as this is an unofficial practice match, and the first word says it all. This means pretty much nothing. Now, the AAMI Community Series does start pretty soon. Now, that does go towards a little bit more. That is kind of a... well, how's the way to put this? It is it doesn't like go premiership points, but that's a more official practice match, that one. These are unofficial. The AAMI Community Series is more official. But Essendon did sculpt the first game of the practice match series on the Wednesday. So, on the Thursday, we had 2 games. We had Carlton and St Kilda to start things off. Now, just to say the least, this was a pretty good game. Now, St Kilda looked like they were going to come back late and probably steal a game from Carlton, which was not theirs to be won. Now, Carlton did have a 5-goal opening term. So, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, Carlton definitely deserved to win this game. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't really add a lot of late scoring pressure. I'm pretty sure they scored about 4 goals in the final 3 terms, which... is far from good, really. That will not win you games of AFL football. You're lucky it was against an opponent that kicked 1 goal in the first quarter, and that's how you won. Otherwise, you probably would have lost the game. Now, for Carlton, it was good signs showing Adam Cerra, George Hewitt were good, and that they can play without Walsh and Mackay. Now, obviously missing Walsh, a big midfielder, and obviously missing Mackay, the massive forward, who is such a brilliant player. So they did a good job. Michael Voss, of course, coaching his first game. He'd be pretty happy with that. Now, the ultimate test obviously comes in the AAMI Community Series where they have Melbourne. Can they sculpt that one? I'm definitely saying no. Now, it was good signs by Carlton. Could they win round 1? That one is up for debate. Probably. They probably could really do that. Although, again, with the performance, though, it was a good performance by the Carlton Blues. Although, their first quarter was good. And then their final 3, they did drop away and almost choked. But, again, very good performance by the Blues. And they get the job done over the Saints. Now, for the Saints, on the other term... in first term, they just let Carlton get away, and they would have won the game had that not happened. So, yeah, but it was a pretty good game, and Carlton just getting the job done under Michael Voss. Now, the next game on Thursday was Melbourne versus North Melbourne. Now, we all had a pretty good understanding on how this one was going to go. We were pretty sure that there was not going to be a real upset coming or anything like that. So, Melbourne did get the job done by 88 points. This was a massive win. Again, definitely expected, though, again. But, yeah, North Melbourne, though, they had some positive shining lights. Jason Hall-Francis being one of them. And Melbourne, obviously, their team's in the best... They've got the best team they've ever had, really. Especially over the last couple of years. Their team has been so consistent. And they've got every position is just in form. You can ask any player in that best 22, and they are all in form. There is none of them that are out of form. They are all in form. They started off brilliantly, and that just goes to show what 2022 is going to be like. They have Carlton in the AAMI Community Series, And then they have Western Bulldogs in round 1. Western Bulldogs will be a good matchup. But yeah, Carlton in the AAMI Community Series, again, that will just be a showing of how much form they are currently in. They got a nice win over North Melbourne though, and they start off their season in the perfect way. Again, unofficial, but again, they do start off their practice matches in good form to the D's. So now moving on to the Friday, we had Crows Brisbane, the first game on that Friday, the early game on the Friday. Now, I was obviously barracking for Crows, but I knew right from the very start when I just heard they were playing the Lions, I was like, no, we're not winning this. And I was exactly right. In fact, I think anyone could really guess that pretty much. If you were just told where they finished last year, you would be told and you'd know how and who to tip. So, Brisbane, although the Crows, they did play for the first half, they did play for the first 1.5 quarters, then they really dripped out because it's 20-29 midway through the second term. I was pretty happy with that, and I was like, oh, maybe a little bit of a chance, but yeah, that was definitely not true. We ended up getting smashed by 88 points against the Brisbane Lions. Again, good showing for the Brisbane Lions. Josh Rochelle, though, playing well for the Adelaide Crows, so again, giving his team something to be happy about. So that was a good sign for the Adelaide Crows, Josh Rochelle. And for Brisbane, again, full teams in form. So again, obviously a nice win for them. And they start off their 2022 campaign nicely. In the AAMI Community Series, they have the Western Bulldogs. That's a good match. No, do they have? I'm pretty sure they got the Western Bulldogs. That will be a good matchup if it is the Western Bulldogs. Good matchup there. And that is just a strong showing, though, by the Brisbane Lions and a good start to their year. Now, next game on that Friday was probably the most biggest upset you'll ever see in your life. Now, probably not in your life, but in the near future, this is a massive upset. So, Gold Coast got over the Power, up on the Gold Coast, 11-10-76, 16-9-55. Now, the reason why I wanted to say that is because Port Adelaide got 6-19. So, they were very inaccurate. So accuracy would have led to them winning the game. Now, I was just as shocked as probably many of you guys while watching this game. It was just, it was crazy. It was, it was an absolute crazy game. Again, Gold Coast, their showings were good. They had some good, they were playing okay. Port Adelaide, again, not sure what it is that 100% lost them. They had a decent team. Again, injuries possibly could have changed the game. But yeah, it was those behinds that really did lose it for the Power. Again, if you could have kicked a little bit straighter, you could have gotten like even 10-15. That would have been enough. Well, that would have been 11-9 or something like that. Or like 10-19 or 11-15 would have definitely been enough to win the game. Again, it's just about winning. You don't have to take it out by too much. But again, that was a disappointing showing by the Power on the Gold Coast. Gold Coast would be happy. Again, I am suspecting this is just a fluke by the Power. I am not expecting them to have a massive drop in 2022. I just think this was just a fluke. And they'll be back to their best in the AAMI Community Series when they face the Crows. And if not, there could be something going on. But I do think they are pretty well. They're a very good team. So I do just think this was just a drop that just inaccuracy cost them. I don't think this is going to mean too much. And for Gold Coast, some positives to look at. But again, does this mean a lot? Well, we'll have to see in the AAMI Community Series to find out. So in the next game that we had on that Friday was very interesting. So now some teams from there decide to start playing 6-quarter matches and let their VFL squads have a crack at playing. So at the end of the official game, it was 73-121. That was the end of the official game. So the Pies absolutely smashed the Hawks in the official practice match where the A-grade teams are playing. And then after the VFL squads came and played for the couple of quarters that they had, Collingwood choked really, and Hawthorn absolutely came back 141 apiece. So it did end in a draw, but the official game was the Pies game. Very good showing by the Pies as well. They played well. Mason Cox was allowed to wear the sunnies in the game. It was approved. So that is some pretty big news as well. So he's going to be wearing sunnies. Again, not sure about the nighttime games, but as Collingwood will probably play more majority day games this year, he'll obviously be wearing shades in those games. Now, 141 apiece for both teams after the VFL squads played. But yeah, again, good showing by the A-grade Pies side. They did a good job in their game. And yeah, after the VFL squad played, good job to Hawthorn's VFL squad. Although I do think they actually played most of their game with the A-grade squad, Hawthorn. I think they might have played 5 quarters with their A-grade squad. Something like that. They did play with their A-grade squad longer than Collingwood did anyway, Hawthorn. So that could have sparked the comeback. But yeah, after the VFL squad played, it was a draw. But the Pies did take out the main game. Now, continuing on the Friday of Madness with the pre-season games, this one was, I don't know, some people saw it coming, some people didn't. It was the Sydney Derby. Obviously, these two teams will be clashing again in round 1. Now, who gets the game there? This does change things, because obviously we do know Sydney's form against the Giants, and it's been pretty poor recently as well. But, yeah, they ended up losing this game. So, again, they played 6 quarters. VFL scores came in. Nothing to do with... Couldn't get a comeback for the Swans going. The Giants won. And after the main squads, the Giants won anyway. So, Sydney didn't lead for the entire match. It was a disappointing showing by the Swans. The Giants have got a lot to look forward to. Does this open the door for a top 8 finish? Probably. Does this open the door for a top 4 finish? Maybe. But the Giants, again, injuries will definitely determine how they go in 2022. Obviously, no Toby Green, so that's a good showing by the Giants anyway. So, good start to their year. Or their unofficial practice match here. So, good start to their season. Well, their year pretty much in AFL football. Now, the second last game of the AFL unofficial pre-season. Now, this one didn't take me by surprise, actually, being completely honest. This one was the Western Derby. Obviously, started while the Sydney Derby was still on, and then ended later that night, obviously coming from Perth. Now, this one was to say probably predictable. Maybe not this predictable, but predictable that Freo would win, and Freo most certainly did that. They did that plus a million times more. They took the game out by 97 points, showing how much form, showing the form that West Coast are in right now. And West Coast form just goes from worse to worse to worse. You say, okay, right, West Coast could be coming back a little bit. They've got a new year, new start, new them. No, that's not happening. Fremantle absolutely destroyed them. 141-44. It was a brilliant showing by Fremantle, and to the end, it just got so easy for them. They were just able to do whatever they wanted, really. New recruits shining for the Dockers. West Coast, they were just left to dust, pretty much. They were just not there. They didn't even really show up. 44-141. That is the biggest win of the unofficial practice matches, and the Dockers will be very happy. And that is why I think they can be a top 8 side in 2022. Only the one practice game for Sunday. Now, again, VFL sides came into this one. I didn't quite get the score for the end of that. I'm pretty sure it was pretty close, the whole game between these two teams, showing that either Geelong are downgrading or Richmond are back to their best. And Richmond did look pretty good again in that game. Dusty was back, doing what Dusty does. And the Tigers only lost by 5 points, which I'd say from how they were last year, that's a pretty good performance by the Richmond Tigers. Geelong 147, Richmond 142. Very high scoring as well, which shows both teams are at their best pretty much. Geelong taking out by 5 points. A good look of practice matches. We've got to see some absolute guns. Obviously, probably the biggest one being Dusty back in. We haven't seen him in for a little while, so it's nice to see Dusty back in the action. But yeah, the Geelong Cats taking that one out by 5 points, starting off their year nicely. So that is how the practice matches went. You guys can let me know your predictions for the Amy Community Series. I do think it is going to be pretty close. So I'll go over my predictions with you guys. Actually, nah. No time to go over predictions. I'm sorry. I was thinking about doing it, but then I was like, no, I'll take it out to 16 minutes. Too long. But yeah, you guys can let me know some suggestions for future episodes, so you guys can let me know ideas for next episode. Now, again, apologies if next episode's not on Wednesday. It probably won't be this week, just because I'm still just trying to sort a couple of things out with how things are going to be working this year. So, probably not this Wednesday, but do definitely expect one next Wednesday as well. I might do one this Wednesday. I might just do a short one. We'll just have to wait and see. But I do hope you guys did enjoy this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the notification button. See you guys in the next video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. So bye guys. Fireplays out.